The reason why Moses is told he's going to die illustrates one of the most key concepts to understand, to learn from the early stories of the Bible. We appreciate Moses as the greatest prophet of all time. He has a direct connection to God. He has prophecy in a state when he's fully awake. God speaks to him, mouth to mouth, so to speak, on an incredibly high level. What's the background to the story? The Jewish people had been wandering in the desert for 40 years. They had water miraculously from a rock that spewed out vast quantities of water. When Moses' sister Miriam dies, the water stops. The Jewish people complain. And God says to Moses, go to that rock and speak to it. Now, 40 years earlier when we left Egypt, we had a similar situation where God had told Moses, hit the rock and water will come out. So follow the narrative. It's fascinating. Moses walks out in front of the Jewish people and he loses it, so to speak. He gets angry for a few seconds and he loses control. He doesn't follow the exact instructions and he hits the rock rather than speaking to it. He did what he did the first time when he got the water out of it 40 years earlier. And what God says to Moses is incredible. He says, Yan shelo imantim bi lekadsheni, because you didn't believe in me to sanctify me. I mean, it sounds like what, Moses becomes an atheist? The man who has the greatest relationship with God humanly possible that no one else in history will ever duplicate? We have to understand this is such a powerful point. Number one is the danger of anger. Because the rabbis tell us, anger is a form of idolatry. Because think about it. Anger is my emotional response to what is versus what I think should be. For instance, I'm late for a dentist appointment, and suddenly there's traffic jams and red lights, and it's horrible. And my teeth it's going to take me a month to get into, why is everyone on my road? I scream out the window, smashing the steering wheel, yelling at everyone. If you appreciate that God truly runs the world and there are no accidents, that's exactly the way it should be. So we understand why it's connected to the idea of idolatry. Now again, Moses, on his level, 120 years old, probably made fewer mistakes in 120 years than most of us make in 1 hour of our lifetime. But that illustrates the second point. It's such a core concept in Judaism that according to your level of knowledge is your level of accountability and your level of responsibility. And according to your level of responsibility is the impact of the mistakes you make. Meaning the more we know, the more we're held accountable for. And God knows, Moses knows more than anyone. But more than that, we appreciate that a person in a position of great responsibility, even making a small mistake, could have huge implications. The President of the United States making even a small error, a word coming out of his mouth, pressing the wrong button, could change all of human history. We wouldn't say the same thing about a taxi dispatcher. But it is really teaching us such an important lesson in Judaism. The lesson of taking responsibility, and the lesson that God plays hardball. Great people in great positions of responsibility don't get second chances. They're just held to a very, very high level. And by the way, when Moses hears that he's going to die, not right away, but he's not going to lead the Jewish people into the land of Israel, he tries to get God to, so to speak, change his mind, not because Moses thinks it is not fair. Moses appreciates that what God does, everything God does is for the good. But he does appreciate that if I lead the Jewish people into the land of Israel, everything will be different. If someone else does it, no matter how great they are, the story will end in a different way.